My name is Yasir, and this incident happened with us about 4 years ago. I belong to Lahore. Our family was never the type to connect everything to jinn or supernatural things. My father always spoke logically. My mother was the prayer and caution type. We siblings and cousins anyway never took things too seriously. So when this incident happened, for the first several hours we kept telling ourselves that it was just the jungle, the rain, and the darkness playing tricks on our minds. But some nights change a person forever. This was during the summer holidays. I had a break from university. My cousins were also free, and for several days there had been a discussion at home about the whole family going on a trip to the northern areas together. In our family, there was my mother, my father, and the 4 of us siblings. Along with us were my uncle, his wife, and their 2 sons. Everyone was grown up, no small children. That was the reason everyone was in the mood to go somewhere where we could sit openly at night, have a barbecue, play Ludo, talk, and enjoy a home-like atmosphere. First, we planned to book a hotel, but the problem with hotels was that we would have to take separate rooms. Then the grown-ups would be in their room, we in ours. Half the fun of a family trip would be lost anyway. My elder brother said it would be better if we could find a whole cottage or hut. Everyone would stay together in one place and enjoy the night. Everyone liked this idea. We left Lahore in 2 cars. From Islamabad we went toward Balakot, then toward the Kagan Valley side. Our plan was to go to Naran. But on the way, seeing the weather, my uncle said, "Why don't we find a place around Shagrin and stay the night there? The jungle is there, the view is there, and the atmosphere seems better for the family." After noon, we reached near Shagrin. The weather was good, clouds were low, there was coolness in the air, and everything looked beautiful in daylight. Above all, everyone was in a good mood. Tea on the way, photos, laughter, and jokes, the usual family trip atmosphere. But the problem was that we could not find a suitable cottage. The good ones were already booked, and the ones that were empty were being quoted at such high rent that my father clearly said, "We are staying for one night, not buying the whole house." We looked for places for a long time. Some hotel owners said we could take rooms, but we wanted a whole cottage. During that search, we met a local man. He was about 50 years old, wearing a cap, a shawl on his shoulder, and his way of speaking was very simple and straightforward. He came up to us and said, "You are with your family, you need a place to stay." My uncle said, "Yes, but we don't want a hotel. If you know of a whole cottage, please tell us." He said, "There is a place, a good one. 4 rooms, a hall, open space outside. It's just a little below the main road. The car will be parked above. You'll have to carry the luggage down." My father asked, "How far down is it?" He said, "About 2 to 2.5 kilometers. The path goes through the jungle, but during the day it's easy." My mother immediately said, "We have so much luggage. How will we carry it?" He said, "There is a person for the luggage. First go and see the place. If you like it, we'll talk." A few of us went with him to see the place, me, my brother Farhan, my cousin, and my uncle. The path indeed went down from the main road. At first it was a narrow trail, then the trees became denser. During the day that path looked very beautiful. Tall trees on both sides, rocks here and there, a dirt path in the middle. Farhan joked, "This is real adventure. What was in a hotel anyway?" We kept going down, laughing. But I noticed one thing. As we went down, the noise from the main road kept decreasing. The sound of vehicles, people's voices, the hustle of shops, all gradually faded. After a while, there was only the sound of our footsteps and the wind between the trees. Things looked nice during the day, but the same thing became a problem for us at night. After about 20 to 25 minutes, the cottage came into view. The cottage was truly beautiful, made of wood and stone. Open space in front, a small shed on one side, and jungle behind. There was also a small servant quarter outside the cottage. Trees surrounded it on all sides, and the cottage was so far below the main road that the world above seemed to have disappeared. During the day, that place looked perfect, private, peaceful, perfect for a family, like a little paradise in the jungle. Inside, there were 4 rooms, a large hall, a kitchen, and a bathroom. The place was clean. Sofas were placed in the hall, and the owner said mattresses would also be provided. My uncle immediately said, "This is perfect." The rent was discussed, some back and forth happened, and the deal was finalized. First, that man took us near the servant quarter and introduced us to a man. His name was Zaman. He was about 35 to 40 years old. He was not a talkative person. He greeted us, nodded, and stood silently. The owner told us, "He lives here. He will stay here at night as well. If you need wood, water, coal, or anything, tell him." My uncle said, "We will have a barbecue at night. We have brought chicken with us. We'll need coal, that's all." Zaman said, "Yes, I will provide the coal." Then he remained silent for a few seconds as if thinking about something. After that, he said, "Just keep one thing in mind. Whatever bones or leftover meat you have after the barbecue, do not throw them outside. Put them in a bag and keep them inside. Give them to me in the morning or take them up and throw them away. But do not throw them outside the cottage at night." My uncle immediately said, "Yes, yes, we will take care of cleanliness." Zaman repeated, "Yes, cleanliness is also important, but just don't keep them outside at night." He did not say this like someone giving an ordinary hygiene rule. There was something else in his tone. I did not pay much attention at the time, but Farhan immediately looked at me. On the way back, he said softly, "He wasn't saying that because of the smell." I laughed and asked, "Then why was he saying it?" "Do bears come for the bones?" Farhan said. "I don't know, but did you see his eyes? He was hiding something." I brushed it off as a joke. The trip mood was high, and we didn't want to create any unnecessary fear. From above, the rest of the family was brought down. The luggage was unloaded. Some of us carried it and some was brought down by Zaman with a helper. My mother found the path a little difficult, but once she saw the cottage, she was satisfied too. My aunt inspected the rooms, looked at the bathroom and kitchen. Then she said, "Yes, this is better than a hotel. At least we will all be together." The rooms were given to the elders, my mother and father in one, my uncle and aunt in another, my sister and cousins in another. We boys laid out mattresses in the hall. Our plan was also the same. We weren't planning to sleep. At night, barbecue, then Ludo, then talking. As evening began to fall, the atmosphere started changing. The jungle that looked beautiful during the day now began to feel a little different. The light was decreasing. The shadows of the trees were getting longer and the silence around the cottage was becoming more prominent. Still, we were all normal. In fact, we were happy. We started preparing for the barbecue. Zaman gave us coal, told us where to get water, and as he was leaving he said again, "Don't throw the bones outside." This time Farhan looked at him carefully and asked, "Why, brother? Do animals come?" Zaman answered, "Animals do come, and there are not just animals in the jungle." Hearing this, we all fell silent for a few seconds. Then my brother laughed and said, "Brother, now you're scaring us." Zaman did not respond with a laugh. He just said, "You are guests. I am telling you as my duty." Saying this, he went toward his quarter. By night, the barbecue had started. The weather was cold. There was a chance of light rain, but no drops were falling yet. Everyone was sitting outside. The heat of the coal, the smell of chicken, my uncle's jokes, my mother's advice, the cousins' laughter. At that time, no one could imagine that this very night would weigh so heavily on us. The food was very good. Everyone ate. Then, slowly, people started going inside. My mother realized she was short of one of her medicines, we found out later. At first, she thought she would take it in the morning. Then she said it would be better to take it at night. We cousins said we would go up to the main road and check. Maybe we would find a shop or medical store. My father initially said no, but then the four of us boys took torches and left. By then the rain had started, not very heavy, just light drizzle. That same path from daytime had completely changed at night. The trees no longer looked beautiful. The torchlight only showed the part where it fell. Everything else was darkness. At one or two places, it felt as if a person was standing there, not a tree. But when we got closer, it turned out to be a bent trunk. We kept ourselves engaged in conversation. But the truth is, on the way back, everyone's steps were faster. The medicine was found with great difficulty. When we returned to the cottage, we ourselves felt how far we had been cut off from the main road. We came back, closed the door, gave the medicine to my mother, and sat in the hall. The elders went to their rooms. We cousins were in the hall. The mattresses were behind us. The Ludo board was placed. Teacups were lying around, and the leftover bones from the barbecue were put in a bag and kept in a corner of the hall. It was here that Farhan started the conversation again. He said, "Brother, sure Zaman's words are still in my mind. Don't throw bones outside at night. There are not just animals in the jungle. This is not normal." My brother said, "Then what should we do?" Everyone laughed. Farhan said, "No, I'm just saying. In our village too, the elders used to say that at night, don't throw bones or leftover meat outside. They say that such things attract some creatures." One cousin immediately said, "Then let's take the challenge. Let's throw them outside and see what comes." I said, "Don't talk nonsense, brother. We'll give them to Sher Zaman in the morning." But the topic turned into a joke. One said, "Nothing will happen." Another said, "If it does." A third said, "Just leave it outside for 2 minutes." It was night, it was a jungle, the rain had started, and we had that foolish bravery that people show in front of friends and cousins. We dimmed the hall light so the elders wouldn't wake up. From under the main door, the faint light of the outside bulb was coming in. The sound of rain was falling on the wooden roof. Farhan picked up the bag. I tried to stop him. "Brother, leave it," he said. "Just throwing it outside. Then we'll see if anything happens or not." The door was opened slowly. Cold air came in. Farhan threw the bag toward the open space in front of the cottage. The bag fell on the wet ground with a soft sound, and he came back and sat down. The door was closed. The latch was put on. We first looked at each other. Then we tried to laugh. My brother said, "There, the horror challenge is over. Now nothing will happen." But about 10 minutes later, the light coming from under the door paused for a moment, as if someone had passed in front of it from outside. At first, we thought it was a trick of the eye. Then 2 minutes later, the same thing happened. The light cut off for a second and came back. This time, the cousin sitting next to me said softly, "Did you guys see that?" We all fell silent. Then a third time, the light stopped. This time for a little longer, as if something was not just passing by the door but had come and stopped outside it. When the light stopped for the third time, none of us laughed anymore. At first, we all thought perhaps it was Sher Zaman. The servant quarter was outside. Maybe he had come out for some work and had seen the bag. But if it was Sher Zaman, why wasn't he saying anything? And the strangest thing was that there was no sound of footsteps outside. Just the light would cut off and then come back. Farhan said very softly, "It's not near the bag, it's near the door." I looked at him but said nothing because what he said was true. If an animal had come because of the bones, it would have gone toward the bag. Why would it stand in front of the door? My elder brother said, "Everyone stay quiet, no one will open the door." We were all sitting on the mattresses, but now the way we sat had changed. Earlier, we were lying comfortably. Someone was looking at their phone, someone was collecting Ludo pieces, someone was drinking tea. Now everyone's backs were straight, eyes fixed on the door, and without asking each other, everyone was thinking the same thing. What is outside? The rain had become a little heavier now. The sound of drops on the roof was continuous. In that sound, sometimes it felt as if someone was taking a light step outside the door and then stopping. But it was such a faint sound that one could convince oneself it was rain or wind. Then suddenly, from outside the door, a very soft sound came. We all fell silent immediately. It was not a knock. It was just as if someone had lightly touched the wood with a finger once. A few seconds later, the sound came again. This time, tap, tap, twice. Farhan leaned toward my ear and said, "This was bound to happen." I signaled him with my eyes to stay quiet. We decided to wait and watch for a while. Maybe it was a branch hitting the door in the wind. But the problem was that the sound was coming from the door. And there was no tree in front of the door, only the open space where we had had the barbecue. We all sat in silence. Then my mother's voice came from her room. "Yasir," she called me very softly, but in that silence the voice was clear to us. I immediately got up. My brother grabbed my hand and whispered, "Don't tell Mom about what's outside." I nodded and went toward my mother's room. The door was half open. My father was asleep on the bed. My mother was sitting up. There was clear worry on her face. She called me close and said, "Son, listen. There is a sound at the back window." I looked toward the window. It faced the back side of the cottage where the jungle started. A curtain was hanging. Outside was complete darkness. I said, "Mother, it's raining. Maybe a branch is hitting it." My mother immediately said, "No, I also thought that at first, but this is not a branch sound. It's like someone is knocking." After a while it would come, then stop. At that time, Farhan and my brother also came to the room door. My mother called them inside too. "You guys listen. Maybe it's my illusion, but I don't feel good about it." We three started looking toward the window. For a few moments nothing happened. Only the rain could be heard. Then there were 3 light knocks on the window glass. "Believe me, you won't believe it, tap, tap, tap." The sound was so clear that after that no one could say it was rain. Rain falls in a pattern. A branch would make a scraping sound. But these were 3 deliberate knocks, as if someone was standing outside and tapping the glass with their finger. My mother immediately held my hand. "You see, this is the sound, right?" My father also woke up at that moment. He asked sleepily, "What happened?" My mother said, "Someone is knocking on the window." My father first sat up. Then he also looked toward the window. A few seconds of silence. Then the same sound came again. My father's face became serious. He looked at us and said, "No one will go outside." I said, "Maybe it's Sher Zaman." My father cut me off. If it was Sher Zaman, he would come to the door, not the window, and not the back window. Hearing this, we 3 fell silent. My father usually didn't talk about such things. He would always say, "Think of the reason first, then be afraid." But at that moment, even he himself was not considering this sound normal. He asked, "Is the hall door closed?" My brother said, "Yes." My father said, "Gather everyone in the hall. There's no need to stay in separate rooms." When I returned to the hall, the other cousins were looking at the light under the door. Their faces showed that something had also happened in our absence. I asked, "What happened?" One cousin said, "Brother, someone was standing outside the door just now. The light was blocked for a long time. Then it moved away." Farhan said, "There's knocking on the back window of Auntie's room too." Hearing this, everyone's faces changed. By then my father and mother had also come to the hall. My father told us to check all the windows from inside, but not to remove any curtains. We had thought of not waking up my uncle and aunt, but a few minutes later they came out on their own. My aunt was with them, and seeing her face, we knew that something had happened in their room too. As soon as my aunt came, she said, "Brother, the latch of our room's window was shaking. I first thought it was the wind. Then the window opened slightly." My uncle said, "I was sleeping. She woke me up. When I got up, indeed the window was not completely closed. I had closed it myself before sleeping." My mother immediately said, "Everyone come into the hall. No one will stay alone in a room." Now the entire atmosphere had changed. The trip that was full of laughter just a few hours ago had turned into a silence where everyone was looking at each other. We moved the mattresses to the middle of the hall. The women sat on one side, my father and uncle near the door, we cousins in the middle. My father asked us, "Is there anything you guys aren't telling us?" We all fell silent. My father said again, "Yasir, tell the truth. Did you guys do something outside?" I looked at Farhan. He lowered his eyes. My elder brother said softly, "Father, those barbecue bones. We threw the bag outside." My father looked at us as if he couldn't believe it. When that man had forbidden it, no one answered. My mother said with great regret, "Son, why do you people take everything as a joke?" Farhan immediately said, "Auntie, it was my fault. I said it." My father raised his hand to stop him. "Now whose fault it was doesn't matter. Now everyone stay quiet. No one will open any door, no one will open any window." For a few minutes nothing happened. The rain continued. In the hall my mother was reciting prayers softly. My aunt also started reciting. We all sat as if waiting for some test. Then the light from under the door went off again. This time, the light remained blocked for a continuous period, meaning something was standing directly in front of the door. No one said anything. Then there was a faint scraping sound on the lower part of the door, scratch, scratch, as if someone was slowly running a nail or something hard over the wood. My aunt raised her prayer voice a little. My mother pulled my sister close to her. My father went toward the door but did not touch it. He just went close and asked, "Who is it?" No answer came from outside. My father said again, "Sure Zaman," silence. Then from outside the door came a sound that made everyone step back at once. It was the sound of bones being chewed, very faint but very clear, as if something was sitting outside the door, casually breaking bones. It was not the quick eating sound of an animal. There was a strange calmness in it, as if whoever was outside was in no hurry, as if it knew we were listening inside. Farhan whispered in my ear, "That's the same bag." I signaled him to stay quiet, but now there was nothing left to hide. Then suddenly the chewing stopped, a few seconds of silence, then 3 knocks on the door, tap, 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 first the window, now the door. Then from outside a voice came, not sure Zaman's. It was a woman's voice, very faint, dry, and as if the words were not fully coming out. "Take the bones back." We all froze. The light from under the door was still blocked. Then a small white thing was pushed inside from under the door, a chicken bone, then a second, then a third. Farhan held his head, "It's sending them back." Then the same woman-like voice came again, "Pick up the bones." More bones came in, along with them mud and wetness. A faint laugh was heard from outside, a sound as if someone had forgotten how to laugh and was just imitating it. Then heavy footsteps started on the roof. We all looked up. Something was walking on the wooden roof, first above the hall, then toward the kitchen, then back. Then 3 knocks from the roof. The same 3 knocks, door, window, roof. For the first time we felt we were surrounded. Then from the servant quarter, Sher Zaman's real voice came from a distance. "Sir, do not open the door." My father asked from near the door, "Sher Zaman, what is outside?" The distant voice came, "I am in my quarter. Whoever is at the door, that is not me." Immediately from very close outside the door, the same voice mimicked Sher Zaman, "Open the door, sir." Now the difference was clear. The distant voice had panic in it, human breath. The close voice had a strange emptiness. Then the mimic voice called my name, "Yasir." I didn't answer. It came again, this time sounding like my mother. "Yasir, open the door." My mother was sitting right in front of me. She held my hand and said, "Son, do not say anything with your tongue." After that the sounds decreased for a while, just light footsteps and occasional taps. But then a sound came from the kitchen, a utensil moved, a spoon fell. We all looked. The kitchen door was closed. My father and brother opened the kitchen door slightly. Inside there was no one, but near the window the same plastic bag was lying, the same bag we had thrown outside. How it got into the kitchen, we never understood. My brother whispered, "Don't touch it." My father closed the kitchen door. We dragged a heavy sofa and placed it in front of the kitchen door. A few seconds later, 3 knocks came from inside the kitchen. Now the sound was coming from inside the cottage, not outside. Then from inside the kitchen, the woman-like voice came again, "Put the bones back." From under the sofa, a small bone rolled out into the hall. My mother said, "No one will touch it." The night continued like that, sometimes footsteps on the roof, sometimes knocks from the kitchen, sometimes the mimic voice trying different voices. We kept reciting prayers. We stayed huddled together in the center of the hall. No one slept. No one spoke. Finally, faint morning light appeared. My father said, "Don't move until the light is fully clear." When the light was bright enough, we gathered our essentials and left. Outside the door, a line of bones led from the doorstep across the courtyard toward the jungle, as if something had been eating them all night. Sher Zaman came out of his quarter, pale and scratched. He looked at the bones and said, "You got through the night. That is a big thing." My father asked, "What was all this?" Sher Zaman said, I told you not to throw bones outside at night. Some things in the jungle are not just animals. They come when they sense a path. You gave them a path. We climbed back to the main road and never returned. That night taught me one thing: always listen to warnings, especially from those who know the land. And never, ever throw bones outside at night.